Is this your last chance to do a backdoor Roth IRA? Well, this podcast will explore what the backdoor Roth IRA strategy is, can you still do it in 2021, why you would want to do it, and why you may be able to do it in 2022 and beyond. Hey everyone, Adam Bergman here, tax attorney and founder of IRA Financial, and thanks for listening to another episode of Adam Talks. Today's episode, is this the last chance to do a backdoor Roth IRA? So I've explored this topic quite a bit in the last several weeks. Why? Well, there's a provision in the House version of the Build Back Better Act that is sitting in the Senate, which ultimately, as of Sunday, has been killed thanks to Senator Manchin of West Virginia. However, there's a provision in the bill that seeks to eliminate backdoor Roth IRAs and mega backdoor Roth 401ks in 2022 and beyond. So before I go into what that means and when you would ultimately want to do a backdoor Roth IRA in 2021 and beyond, let me just briefly explain what exactly is a backdoor Roth IRA. So before 2010, if you made more than $100,000, you were not able to do any Roth conversion. That means after tax to Roth, and that means pre-tax to Roth. Yeah, hard to believe. It's only been 11 years, but pre-2010, you were not able to do a conversion if you made more than 100K. Now, what changed? Financial crisis. Government needed money, companies had less profit or no profit, individuals less income, that means less tax revenue. So the government was looking for easy, quick tax revenue. And that's when they uncovered the idea of a Roth conversion. When you do a Roth conversion, you prematurely pay your tax based off the fair market value of the asset. So if you had $100,000 in stocks and you're 60 years old, you wouldn't have to take a taxable distribution until you were 70 and a half at that time. Now the age for required minimum distributions is 72. So that means if you get someone to pay the tax on that value up front, you're getting premature tax revenue, which is great for the IRS today. It's not great in 15 or 20 years because at that point, as the account appreciates, the account will be in Roth. And so long as the Roth's been open at least 5 years, and the individual is over the age of 59 and a half, he or she can pull all that money out tax-free. But governments don't look down the road 10, 15 years. They are dealing with the immediate implications of a lower than tax expectation. And obviously, remember back to 2010, 2009, things were pretty uneven. There was less confidence in the economy, so government was just hopeful to get enough tax revenue on that at that point without worrying what would be the consequence of having a lot more Roths in 10, 15, 20 years or so. Now they're getting around to that issue by trying to cap large retirement accounts at $10 million. But since 2010, when the income limitation was waived for all conversions, that means after tax to Roth as well as pre-tax to Roth, the backdoor Roth IRA was born. And what is a backdoor Roth IRA? It simply means that if you make more than the Roth IRA income limitation, which in 2021 is $208,000, if you're married, follow jointly, you're not able to do a Roth. But the backdoor Roth IRA says no. What you can do is do an after-tax IRA and then immediately convert it to Roth. Since you're going after-tax to Roth, there is no tax on that conversion, assuming the after-tax amount did not earn any earnings, i.e. wasn't invested in stocks or money market or any other investment. So that means you can actually just do an after-tax contribution equal to $6,000 or $7,000 if you're over 50, and then literally the next day convert it to Roth. So that became a very popular strategy for anyone that made more than the Roth income limitation, which again, 2021 is 208, to do Roth. Now, again, you're only able to add $6,000 or $7,000, so it's not like Elon Musk or Peter Thiel, really cared about the strategy. But as I mentioned in previous videos and podcasts, it was great for us, right? For hardworking Americans that want to put away a little bit more in their retirement account, an extra $4, $5, $6 a year in a Roth makes a difference to us, right? That $6 or $5 or $4 over the next 10, 15, 20 years, could be a few $100,000 down the road, which to Elon Musk is irrelevant, but for most of us is meaningful money that can make a difference in our life and the life of our families going forward. So what happened is many people that made more than the income limitation, including myself, including thousands of my clients, did after-tax conversions. Capped at $6 or $7 if you're over 50, but it's a nice way if you make more than the income limitation for Roth to put a little bit more money away for your family. So what happens? The House Ways and Means released a tax proposal September 15th, and there is a provision in that bill that sought to eliminate backdoor Roth IRAs and mega backdoor Roth 401ks. Now, the mega backdoor Roth 401k was a way that you can put away $58,000 or $64,500 if you're over 50 in 2021 and just do an after-tax contribution dollar for dollar and then immediately convert to Roth. Most of those occurrences take place in a solo 401k, which is basically a 401k for someone self-employed or someone with a business with no full-time employees. Why? If you work at Ford, you're likely not going to satisfy an ERISA test called the ACP. It's a contribution percentage test because generally the more people that are doing the mega backdoor Roth 401k will be higher income earners, and thus the plan will be top heavy. That's why even though the plan may be available, that the Roth option, I would say, is available in a plan, the mega backdoor Roth, it generally will not be permitted once the plan does its calculation, and the money will be returned to the taxpayer plan participant because of the failure of the top-heavy ACP test. So the provision in the bill said no more Roth, backdoor Roths. They were going to allow conversions for the next 10 years. So pre-tax to Roth will be allowed for the next 10 years. Why? They know it raises money, and they need the money in the bill they need the money to pay for some of the programs. But the backdoor Roth and the mega backdoor are not tax generating provisions, right? You're going after tax the Roth. So you're not actually generating revenue, which is a reason why Senator Wyden and some of the other Democrats were okay getting rid of it. Why? Number one, they don't love Roths. They think it's abusive and only rich people are doing Roths. And number two, it's not going to generate any revenue, so let's just kill it. Even though you and I are not rich, right? Just because you make more than 208 in 2021 does not mean you're rich. It means you're successful. Things are going well. Doesn't mean you're rich. And I think that's the distinction that Senator Wyden and some of the Democrats haven't grasped. That just because you're doing a backdoor Roth IRA doesn't mean you're a billionaire or a multimillionaire. It just means that you're successful and you're working hard and you have a family with 2 income earners and you want to put away a little bit more for retirement. So anyways, fast forward to today. On Sunday, Senator Manchin said he's not going to vote for the Build Back Better bill. The president on Tuesday will speak about that. And what this means is essentially this. Build Back Better is not going to be passed in 2021. So that means if you are still interested in doing a backdoor Roth IRA, technically, yes, you have until April 15th next year to do it. I would not wait. I would do it today. Do it before 12/31. Knock it in. Get it in. Because what's going to happen is some version of the Build Back Better bill potentially will get passed in 2022. Senator Manchin is still a Democrat. There's still parts of that bill he would vote for. Yes, they'll slim it down. They will work with him. But I believe strongly that Biden and his team need this piece of legislation. There are midterms next year. They want to be able to go around to their state, their respective states, when they are campaigning and say, look, we got infrastructure done and we got this Build Back Better bill. Give us 2 more years or 6 more years. If you're senator in DC, we're getting the job done for you as our constituents. So I think it's important that they get this bill back. What does that mean for retirement account provisions? No one knows. The backdoor Roth IRA and the mega backdoor Roth 401k do not generate revenue. Okay, they're there for essentially policy. So will these provisions remain in a bill, or will they be taken out and dealt with by whether it's Secure Act 2.0 or other legislation, which is probably the way they should be dealt with? We don't know, right? This is all part of reconciliation. It was all done because you need a simple majority to get the bill passed, which the Democrats thought they had. They had a majority in the House. They had a one-vote tiebreaker by Vice President Harris, and they thought they were going to get this through. According to Manchin and his people, he told them all along, hey, listen to me, I'm not going to vote for this thing. There's some budget trickery going on, 10-year versus 4-year projections, and this is too rich. We got inflation. I'm a no. And I guess they didn't take him for his word because ultimately they were pretty confident they would get the bill passed the Senate. And as of Sunday, officially on Fox Morning News, Senator Manchin said, no, it's a no. So Backdoor Roth IRA, mega backdoor Roth 401k is still alive. It's kicking. It's on life support. It's still around in 2021. So what happens in 2022? Let's say the Build Back Better bill gets passed in 22. What happens? Well, according to our lobbyist, if it doesn't get passed till February and onwards next year, there's a good chance that you'll be able to do backdoor Roth IRAs and mega backdoor 401ks in 2022. The idea is they're not going to want to force taxpayers to unwind tax contributions, retirement contributions, taxable situations. And as you move along in the 2022 taxable year, it's going to get more difficult to retroactively apply those provisions. So according to these folks, if it gets past February or even past January, they think they're going to have to tweak the bill so that the backdoor Roth IRA and the mega backdoor Roth 401k will be allowed in 2022. Also, probably the 10-year conversion window, which is for pre-tax to Roth, not after-tax to Roth, which is the backdoor, but pre-tax Roth conversions will probably be extended to 32 instead of 2031. And likely the cap, the $10 million cap, which shouldn't kick in until 28, may be pushed another year as well. So we don't know, or maybe those provisions will just get kicked out. They'll slim down the bill, focus on the key provisions, make it more about the key Manchin policies that he's pushing for versus just a hodgepodge of different provisions that are basically pushed in as per reconciliation. We'll see. No one knows, but I was wrong. I actually thought, and that's why I don't bet. I thought this bill was going to get passed this year. I thought they were going to do enough. I thought Biden was going to pressure Manchin and they were going to last minute, knock a few things out and get this thing done. But clearly that's not happening. I do believe the inflation numbers changed everything. A week or so ago, inflation numbers came out where it was close to like 7% inflation year over year. And I think being a West Virginia senator, I think he's finding it hard to deal with that. Plus the fact that 60% of the state voted for Trump. So I think, he's got to deal with re-election. He's got to deal with his constituents. That's his job, right? As a senator from West Virginia, he should be worried about West Virginia citizens and not people in Florida or New York. So he's doing what he needs to do. And it's not just him. Obviously, all the Republicans voted against it as well. So it's not just one against 99. There's like 51 against 50. Either way, what it means for retirement account investors is status quo. Get your backdoor Roth IRA if you make more than 208 this year. It's going up to 214 next year. Married, file jointly. If you make under 208, you can still do Roth. If you want to, you should be always maxing out. If you make more than 208, try to make sure you're maxed out your 401k as well. Saving through retirement plan is the best and smartest way because you take advantage of the power of deferral, compounding returns. Your money should grow every 8 years if you average at least an 8% rate of return. So saving in a tax-exempt account is way more tax advantageous than saving in a taxable account in your savings account or a brokerage account in your name. So use the retirement system to your benefit. Yeah, there's been some bumps, some moguls, you would say, using a ski terminology, but it looks like it is status quo. Thanks to all your help, we got the two really bad IRA provisions knocked out, the accredited investor one and the 10% ownership. So that's off to the side, hopefully never to be revisited. But the backdoor Roth IRA and the backdoor Roth 401k is still in the bill. The bill's dead as of 2021, but it definitely will resurface in 2022. And then at that point, we'll see where we stand. But right now, do the conversions. We're going to allow our clients to do conversions in 2022. When I say conversions, I mean backdoor, right? You can always do pre-tax. And I just want to make this clear. I've done an Ad Bits podcast on this. The difference between a backdoor and a Roth conversion, pre-tax to Roth versus after-tax to Roth. I get a lot of questions about this, so I want to make it super clear. Roth conversions, when you convert pre-tax IRA to 401k or pre-tax 401k to Roth 401k, that will be allowed for the next 10 years. So don't worry. And who knows if that will ever stop. I doubt they're going to ever stop that because of the tax revenue, which any administration would want. The backdoor Roth, when you go after tax to Roth, the Build Back Better bill sought to eliminate that starting in 2022. As I mentioned, the bill is dead as of today. So 2022, it will likely be resurrected, slimmer version in order to appease Senator Manchin. Will these retirement provisions be in it? I don't know. Obviously, I will keep you updated as to what that means, but we're not going to hear much until the first 2 weeks of January. With Christmas and New Year's approaching, most members of Congress, senators are heading back to their families in their respective states. So not likely going to hear anything significant on this bill. I think things will pick back up first week of January, and then kind of we'll see where we fall. But there's going to be things they're going to have to do. There's environmental stuff that Senator Manchin wants addressed. There's the issue of making sure we can pay for the provisions in the bill, not in 4 years, but in 10 years. So the Democratic caucus has some work to do. Obviously, President Biden will put pressure on Manchin, but we'll see what happens. The progressives may come back and say, hey, you're doing all this for Manchin. We're not going to sign off on it. And they may sabotage the bill as well. So this thing is not over. Obviously, I don't want any of these retirement provisions in there. I'm not okay with any of them. So clearly I'm rooting for the bill to get kicked to the curb, even though there are some provisions in it that are good, like child credit stuff and being able to have care for children is important, which again I think Senator Manchin is all for if the bill was just that. But what happens in these reconciliation processes, and it's not a Democrat thing, the Republicans have done and will do the same thing, is it's basically a free-for-all. Let's just throw everything into the pot, stew it up, and get it made and voted on. So it's not just a Democrat issue. The Republicans would do the same thing. They have, and they will continue. Reconciliation is a powerful tool because you need a simple majority to get things done. It doesn't always happen. But I can promise you, if the Republicans get the opportunity in 2 years or 4 years or next year, they will do the same thing. However, the retirement provisions that got stuck in this bill were, I think, pretty hurtful, not just to our industry, but to all of you and to American businesses. So we are hopeful that the bad provisions won't come back, and then hopefully these backdoor and the mega backdoor will stay out of it when the bill is resurrected. But that's it for now. That's kind of what we know. That's the inside scoop I can share with you. Just spoke again to a former senator this week, and a couple acting current members of Congress who feel like this thing is dead for now, probably to be picked up mid-January. So do the backdoor Roths. If you want to do them first couple weeks in January until we hear more, we'll do them for you. We may have to unwind them, but the idea is if the bill doesn't get passed till February or beyond, they at least will be likely to move up the exemption date from 21 to the end of 22. So again, do the conversions. Don't wait around. Don't wait till April. Get them done. And that's it. Have a great Christmas. Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy holidays. Be safe out there. COVID's out of control. I have like 20 friends that have COVID in New York and Miami. Thank God they're all okay. It's just like a really bad flu. So, just be careful. Be safe. Be with your families. It's okay to be with your families. Thanks again for all your support this year. You guys have been great. Had a really good year. And it's been a lot of fun. So hopefully 2022 will be even better. I'll talk to you before New Year's. So just wish everyone Merry Christmas and have a wonderful holiday. Thanks.